رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abu Taubah. Abu Taubah. That's how I'd like to be addressed, as Abu Taubah. Okay? Now, this class, I'm a professor. I teach Arabic. I teach Tafseer. That's my specialty. Okay? Now, I want everybody to understand that this is not a lecture, a khutbah, or one of those da'wah pieces where you come and you sit down and you don't be involved. This is a class, okay? Class. And anybody that comes in here is an open target for me. Because if you're sitting in the classroom, I'm driving from Greensboro, which is about an hour away from me. I didn't come here to waste my time or to waste your time. For many years now, we've become Quranically illiterate, okay, meaning that we don't understand basic things about the Quran. And this is why our Islam is not at the level that it could be. Now, the solution for that is what we're putting forth now. We're not poking holes. We're coming here to solve that issue. And the way we solve that issue is Tafseeru 101 is what we're going to do. We're going to break each surah down for every one of you. From whence it came, its length and name, its placement, and just what it claims. To learn Quran and pass it down for Muslims learning all around. Now what we have done is we've made a poem out of the Science of Tafseer, basic Tafseer, for every surah in the Quran and all the points leading up to what you should know about the Quran at a one-on-one level. One of the problems, I didn't realize I had my head on. One of the problems we Westerners have is we bite off more than we chew because we have an abundance. Abundance in the Western mindset makes you think you have more than enough. But it's true, you do have more than enough, so you make waste. So with all the books and all the internet and all this other stuff, we haven't done much with it, or we've bitten off more than we can chew, so we never finish it. So what we've done is we've made it simple, what we should know. Tafseeru 101. Everyone who's been to college knows that the term 101, what does that mean? Anybody? And I want the right hand up. I don't want nobody to give me their left hand. That means you mean something about me. Okay, since the left hand is for negative things, right? Yes, yeah.
It's like the beginning of everything.
A basic, right?
Yeah.
Basic. So this is a basic tafsir. Okay? Now I'm going to mix it up because we have very intelligent people. But we're first going to establish what the basic tafsir is for every surah. So if someone comes up to you and says to you, hey, you know, Mr. Muslim, what is Surah to Yasin? What's that surah about? What are you going to say? A summarization of what that surah is. And that's something we all should know. Or whatever surah it is. How many ayah is it? Was it Meccan or Medinan? And what's the difference? Aren't you Muslim? And we say, yes, but we are Quranically illiterate. So we're going to fix that. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to break each surah down. Break it down to its very last compound. If you know where that came from, it's showing how old you are. Okay? But we're going to break it down to its very last compound. We're going to break everything down. Alhamdulillah. And we're only going to accept questions for the surah that we're dealing with so we don't get sidetracked. Okay? We're doing it that way. Now, my assistant teacher here is Mr. Nuayman. He's going to be going around, and everyone who wants to be considered a serious student, put your name there and your number there. And we will make sure that you learn if you do what I ask you to do. The class is only once a week, but if you only study once a week, you're not going to get much benefit out of the class. So, you're responsible for writing this down. I was printing this out and making copies, then I said, no, I don't want to do that. Because one of the problems that we have is we've been given too much. Too many things. And when we get too many things, we just take the what do you call it? The Xerox copy, and it's gone. It's crumpled up in the bag. You have to write it down yourself. Your handwriting is most beloved to you. You can recognize what it is. And plus, that's a type of memorization. As you write it down, you have to transfer it through your mind to your hand, to your eye. And so you'll get to understand. Tafseeru 101. Say, if I say it, you say. Tafseeru 101.
Tafseeru 101
is what we're going to do.
is what we're going to do.
Why do I hear the young boys and not the young grown men? Another thing that one of our problems is we have this fake shyness. We should be roaring about these types of things and shy about other things. The Prophet ﷺ said there's no shyness in talab al-ilm. Tafseeru 101
Tafseeru 101
is what we're going to do.
is what we're going to do.
We're going to break each surah down for every one of you.
We're going to break each surah down for every one of you.
What does that mean, break it down? We call this is general. I said it's a general statement. Now we're going to come here, we call this atfal bayan, meaning we're going to clarify. Like if you have 5 brothers and I say, I saw your brother. Well, you don't know which brother I saw. Then I say Zayd and say you have a brother named Zayd. So now I've clarified by what came after the general statement, the specific, and Allah does this a lot in the Quran. So I'm going to be saying things to you which are principles of tafsir so that you can learn how to make tafsir yourself as we go along. So what I said is we're going to break each surah down for every one of you. What about it? From whence it came. From whence it came. That's the first thing. From whence it came. What does that mean, from whence it came? Yes, sir.
It is when it was revealed, sir.
What does that mean? Anybody else?
From Lahul Mahfuz.
Excuse me?
From Allah, from the Lahul Mahfuz.
No, that's not what we mean. Not from the Lahul Mahfuz. Yes, ma'am? No, that might be right if you give me something else. What else?
Context.
Mecca or Medina, not context. Mecca or Medina. Is it a Meccan surah? Is it a Medinan surah? Or is it a surah of ikhtilaf? There's 12 surahs in the Quran, okay, that are surahs of ikhtilaf. Okay? So, we're going to break it down from whence it came,
Like a name.
its length and name. How many ayat is its length? You should be familiar with the length of the surah. Just like the men should know when their wives' anniversary is, right? You need to know how tall she is and everything like that. And you have to know that about your children and all those things. You got to be familiar with the Quran. You can't say you love Allah, you love His Messenger, and you don't know anything about the Quran. When we come to the masjid enough, we get to remember brothers' feet. You know, in the masjid in Breezebell, the lights are out dark for the fajr. So it's kind of dark, but you get used to seeing, oh, I know that man by his foot because it's so dark. You understand? Because you're being around them. So constantly being around something, you get to realize how long and those different details about it. So the length is important because that's going to tell us something else as well. Because the shorter the surah, the shorter the length, the more intense are the words in that surah. Okay? The longer the ayat, meaning the longer the surah, then in those surah it takes longer time to get to some of the objectives. And there's a hint to that. The shorter surahs normally came where? Mecca. And the Medina surahs were the long ones. Why? Why were they short in Mecca? Yes, sir. Well, no, I'm not going to get the same person. Somebody else. Come on. How old are you, son?
12, sir.
He's 12 years old.
It deals with Tawheed.
No, that's not why. I mean, it's true, but that's not why. Why do you think that the Meccan surahs were shorter? Who was in... Sorry? Go ahead, ma'am. No, don't be scared. You know, we love for students to make mistakes in the classroom. For too long, we've been following this idea that if you make a mistake, we're going to throw you out with the dirty bathwater, right? That's not the way it's supposed to. You're supposed to make your mistakes in the classroom. Okay? Now, answer, inshallah. Not wise.
Not one.
No ums. Go ahead, please. That's not the reason why they're short. They could be Tawheed and Aqidah and be long. Yes, ma'am. That's true. They're easy to learn, but that's not the main reason. Go ahead, ma'am.
One of the things is that things happen mostly, the revelation happened mostly during the Meccan time when there was situations that came.
Nope, the situations are equal on both sides. I'll tell you why.
Get your attention?
Sorry?
To get your attention and keep it.
Well, this is part of the reason. They were short because the people didn't want to hear it. Okay? Who were listening in Mecca? Kuffar. Who's living in Medina?
Believers.
Believers. So the believers are already committed. So they don't have to be short. They're ready. Their commitment is going to let them sit down and listen to the long ayah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. That's in Medina. Wal asr got your attention. You're listening. You couldn't not listen, right? Because it was short and it got your attention. So it snatched your attention and it's over before you gave up. Right? Because you say, okay, let me give it a minute and then I'll just listen to one. And now it's over. So the shorter surah were there to snatch your attention, keep it and let you go. And the longer ones you're already committed so we can have a conversation about this. Does that make sense, guys? Now, do you understand why we need to know the length? Why it's important to be familiar with the length of the surah, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. From whence it came, its length and name.
From whence
From whence it came, its length and name.
From whence it came, its length and name.
Let me tell you something. You see this guy here, Mr. Nuayman? I said he's my assistant teacher, right? What's going to happen every week when you come in, he's going to test you. While I'm teaching here, he's going to pull certain people out, and he's going to test you on a poem. Not your notes. He's going to test you here. Ours is an oral tradition. Okay? So we're going to memorize this. He's going to test the ladies too, so you're not going to get out of it. You know? This is the way it is. Because your knowledge has to be here and off your tongue. You know what we say back in the day? Know it like a poet, right? Why? Because if you know it like a poet, you know it intimately. And so this is the problem has been that most of these texts have been in Arabic. Poetry in Arabic. So the American or the Westerners are not that proficient. Even our children haven't been as proficient as we are in the Arabic. Those of us who have learned, or even the adults, don't know that much Arabic, those who Hudatha al-Islam. So we put it in English for you, or out of English with still keeping the Arabic terminology, because the Arabic terminology is the Islamic terminology. So you're not going to be able to weasel out. Okay? There's no excuses for not being able to learn this. So, from whence it came, its length and name.
From whence it came, its length and name.
Its length and name. We have to know the names of these surah. The names of these surah are very, very important. They weren't just made up like this, that, and the other thing. The names tell you a lot. When you start to learn the names of the surah, you'll start to notice that when you get to the 10th surah and you start seeing Hud and Yunus and you start seeing all those teens are all prophets or dealing with prophecy, even in that order. And there's a lesson in that. There's a lesson. You start to notice these things that help you remember those stories and what's going in that story. So knowing the name of the story is important. Name of the surah is important. Why is it called Baqarah? Oh, because there's 2 stories in Baqarah? No. The Baqarah is named Baqarah because only of one story in the Quran about the Baqarah. So you have to look in the Quran, and yeah, there's 2 stories there, but only one of them is called Surah Al-Baqarah. Why? Because that one is only in that surah. The other one is mentioned other places. So now you have to look and see which one of those surah, which one of those stories of Baqarah is only in Baqarah. So they called it Surah Al-Baqarah. That's one of the reasons. See how the name benefits? So we need to know these names because in that is an ayah, it's a sign for us to help us, live and be fulfilled with our deen. The Quran is the thing that will most increase you in your iman. What's the proof? I'm just going to say anything up here. What's the proof? If you're not asking me, you obviously know. So tell me, how is it the Quran is the one thing that will increase your iman more than anything else?
Because Allah says so.
When did Allah say so? So, not wise.
Not wise.
Someone says in this class, what do you guys say?
Not wise.
If you do that, then we'll start talking with etiquette. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adl wal ihsan. Allah commands us to do everything, do justice, and to do it in an excellent way. Mediocrity is considered sinful in Islam. And we've fallen into that. We're gone are the days with the FOI when we was on our point. We threw that out with the bad water, and we shouldn't have. So there will be some more excellence. I'm not picking on you, I'm picking on you, but not like that. But you guys get my point? So we need to go back to those types of disciplines where the Muslims are known for excellence in everything they do. In Allah kataba ala kulli shay ihsanan. That's what the Prophet said. It has been ordained for us to do everything in an excellent fashion. So even if we do something mundane, like slaughtering an animal, we're supposed to sharpen our knife so we can do it in a professional way. So we don't want to be, if I'm standing here saying, you're going to say this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And that's the same thing I'm going to say when you say, not wise. But you guys help me. After a couple of days, you'll see everybody their speech will get better. Inshallah. So, back to the question. What was the question?
What's the proof?
Why the Quran?
You reveal the ayat that when you,
Right, what's the proof? Not wise.
The life of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
That is the proof. Give it to me though. That's a
The
general.
life of the Rasuls.
Give me the meaning beyond that though. That's true, but that's only part of it. That's general. Give me Atful Bayan. Clarify deeply. Someone else, help him. You had your hand up. Yes, ma'am.
The Prophet ﷺ is the best example to follow.
This is true. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. But the answer is this. It has nothing to do with him being the best of peoples. It has to do with his life, like you said. What happened whenever there was a problem in the time of the Prophet? What did Allah do? He revealed Quran. Whenever there was a fitna, whenever anything happened, Allah sent down Quran. For what purpose? To increase their iman. يُثَبِّتُ أَقْدَامَهُم. To make their feet firm. Right? So the Quran was sent down to make the Sahaba's feet firm. And it was doing that. And what did they lament the most after the death of the Prophet? The stopping of the revelation, that it wasn't coming anymore. So the ulama from that time to this time are in unanimous agreement, ijma, that nothing can increase the believer's iman quicker, faster, and more stronger than the Quran. And when you listen to the biographies of many of the old Shaykh, they say when they got in their older age, they lamented that they didn't spend more time with the Quran. So this is the reason why this Quran, this study of the Quran, is going to increase your iman. It's going to firm your practice. Because we're going to understand a few things in here that we may have understood incorrectly. And I'll give you one word in that, so I don't forget. Remind me. Inshallah. Okay, so let's go back. Tafseeru 101.
Tafseeru 101
is what we're going to do.
is what we're going to do.
We're going to break each surah down for every one of you.
We're going to break each surah down to every one of you.
From whence it came.
From whence it came.
Its length and name.
Its length and name.
Its meaning, its placement, and just what it claims.
Its placement and just what it claims.
We're going to dig in the crates. You know, back in the days, back in the DJ days, they used to say, go digging in the crates, right? To go looking for that particular record or something like that. That's from the culture in the 60s and 70s and even the 80s. That was the thing. So what happened is you started to learn where to go get that. Now we give someone a mushaf, we say, find Surah Al-Fatiha. They're looking in the back. People looking in the back, looking at the fihras, the table of contents, because they don't know just by looking at it. Where is Fatiha? Between what surahs and what? And where is that in connection with the mushaf? Does that make sense? Why is it? Why doesn't a person know that? You know? They don't know that. Why? Someone want to tell me? Yes, ma'am, with the baby? Yes. Why wouldn't they know that? You have a baby. Now, babies around that time, they start getting into stuff. They see where you put something, and they go and get it, right? Okay, so if they don't see where you put it, they can't go get it all the time. But they know automatically where you put that candy that you gave her. She just took the bag. Okay? Right? So why do they know?
They don't spend time with it.
They don't spend enough time with it, so they don't know where the surah is. Okay? This is a sin. It's called Hijr al-Quran. And Allah in the Quran calls the people who made hijrah from the Quran. What does hijrah from the Quran mean, first and foremost?
migration.
Right, that's not, we wouldn't use migration.
To
Deserting the Quran. That's what it's more. The better term would be desertion. What'd you say? Or we would call it criminal neglect. That's what we would call it. As a Sharia term, it's criminal neglect of the Quran. And Allah calls the people who criminally, He says, Ya Rabbi inna qawmi what? تقدر هذا القرآن مهجورا. Jazakallah khair. He says, Ya Rabbi. He calls out to Allah, Inna qawmi, my people have taken this Quran as a place of hijrah, mahjura, and they've deserted it. And Allah says, Kadhalik, like that, Allah makes every one of the enemies, every one of the prophets. So He calls the people who desert the Quran, the people who criminally neglect the Quran, the enemies of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Surah Al-Furqan. So that is what the problem of that, or the description of that individual. Don't be that individual. And the phone don't do it. I know a lot of people now, I got the app and they're going to read the Quran like that. Alhamdulillah, it benefits because in tight situation you can do that. But don't leave the book. Because from the definition of what the Quran is, it's bayna diftay. It's that thing that's between the two leather sheets, the cover of the Mus'haf, Uthmani. That's what we're talking about here. That's the Mus'haf. That's the Quran recitable. And other things are just teaching aids, helping aids, that we shouldn't neglect either in their place. In their place. But reading the Quran and struggling with the actual Mus'haf, you get more ajr. Wallahu tabarak wa ta'ala a'lam. So, its placement. You get to know its placement because I'm going to give you, well, we have the Masahif here. After some time, you're going to come and everyone will have, I'm going to name a surah and we're going to find that surah fast. And we'll try to give a reward for that. Maybe everybody who comes in last has to give that person $1. So that'll get people learning where that Mus'haf is real quick, right? And where things is, because there's an incentive. And we don't necessarily sometimes, accept the incentive that we're going to get a reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or we make dua for that individual. And may Allah accept those dua. So it's placement and just what it claims. It's placement and just what it claims.
It's placement and just what it claims.
Okay, what does it mean and what it claims? Okay, God, the brother's going to offer salah, so we're going to keep it down. Go ahead, Afi. Okay. What does it mean to what it claims? Anyone?
What's the surah is about? What's the subject it's talking?
What is the subject matter of the surah? We're going to call it maqasid al-surah. Okay, what's the objective of the surah? Because there's two things. There's a summary of a surah, and then there's the objective of that surah. Does that make sense?
No.
We're going to go over one and go say, okay, what is going on in that surah? That's one aspect of it. But normally, just because what's going on there, that's not necessarily the objective or the spirit of that surah. Does that make sense?
No.
Because you see the kuffar, they say this thing. They say, look, Surah Al-Baqarah, it's this whole bunch of subject matter and, it's all just put together like this. And they miss it, which, alhamdulillah, they miss it. But we find Muslims thinking the same thing. That Surah Al-Baqarah is just all these different events. Why are they there? Well, I don't get it. I don't get it. They don't get it. We're going to get it. We're going to explain. I don't want to explain to you now because you're not going to come on that day. But it's all together. There is a one theme in Surah Al-Baqarah. One theme. One thing going on. The whole Quran and all of it is connected to everything that's going in a sequential way. Okay? In a very sequential way. So we're going to go through that so that we can understand that. That's and what it claims. What's our niyyah? To learn Quran.
To learn Quran.
And pass it down.
Pass it down.
For Muslims learning.
For Muslims learning.
All around.
All around.
To learn Quran.
To learn Quran.
And pass it down.
And pass it down.
To Muslims learning.
All around.
All around.
All around.
This is what Ibn Uthaymeen, our Shaykh, rahimahullah, used to say, make your intention, the intention for talab al-ilm. He say, make your intention to raise ignorance off yourself and those around you. Right? This is what he used to tell us, to islah al-niyyah, to correct your intention. And then, of course, we accepted that because of Ibn Uthaymeen, But then we started to understand it better when you look at Surah Al-Asr, right? وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا وَالْآمِنُ, the first condition of belief, except those who believe. Everybody's a loser except those who believe. But what's the first condition of belief? We said it's 7 keys of La ilaha illallah. The first key is what? Al-ilm. Right? Knowledge. So you have to know. فَأَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا Right? Illahu. There's nothing worthy of worship except Allah. Fastaghfir li dhanbik. Then seek the forgiveness from your sins. So he put knowledge before he told you to do the action of even istighfar. So illa ladina amanu means first to have knowledge of something, to learn the Quran, right? And then he says watawasaw. And what is the watawasaw? Tawasaw is from the word wasiya. What is a wasiya? Ya ibn Anid. Sorry? A wasiya is a legacy that the elder leaves down, to the ones that come under him, right? Though on someone's deathbed, they leave a legacy for you to follow. Tradition leaves whatever they awsaka fi yani wa awsa Ibrahim, right? So everybody has a wasiya, a legacy that they pass down. Traditionally, when someone passed on a legacy, that person who heard it was bound by that legacy. They had a sense of duty that they had to fulfill from their ancestor, whatever they said to do. Whether it was naming their child, whatever name they told them, doing whatever business they told them to do, whatever it was. And then there became a time where the loss of the amana, the trust was lost, and people said, well, I don't care what he said. I'm going to do what I want to do. And this breaks the tradition. When Allah says, وَأَوْفُوا بِالْعُقُودِ, fulfill those obligations that you have. And the first one is to your ancestors, to your seniors. So here, the wasiya wa tawasaw is to pass down the legacy of Islam. Okay? And that cannot be done without the Quran. So Al-Quran is al-haq, qawluhu al-haq. It is the speech of Allah and it's not created. It is the true word and the reality, put things in place. So that's what the Quran does. He says, mathaluhu, this example of this one, this is his reality. Okay? Oh, this is what he does? This is his reality. So it's telling you al-haqqu min rabbina. It's the truth and the reality from our Lord. So we are learning Quran and then passing it down. First take it and then passing it down. Watawasaw bil-haq. Watawasaw bis-sabr is having patience, leaving that legacy, teaching those that come under you that they have to also learn it, apply it, and pass it down to someone else and teach them to learn it and practice it and pass it down. And that's our legacy. That's what we continue to do. And to be patient with that. Patient with the adha, sometimes the discomfort that may come, or the challenges that may come with doing that. And so this is what these two lines mean. To learn Quran and pass it down for Muslims learning all around. Go ahead, recite it, guys.
To learn Quran and pass it down for Muslims learning all around.
The tongue is one of the strongest, it's the second strongest muscle in your body. The strongest muscle in your body is your heart. Okay? And then afterwards, the tongue. It never gets tired. Right? It's always got something to say, right? So, but it has muscle memory. You notice people say things all the time that they always say all the time. They have key words that they're always saying. You guys get my point? I knew an elder man back in the 90s. He had like about 3 non-Muslim neighbors and friends that he would hang out with. They were his neighbors on his right and left, and I visited him. It was in Minnesota. And we were talking at this time, and I was talking to the elder man in Arabic. And then I caught myself, I said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be talking in Arabic in front of you guys right here. And they said, oh, don't worry. We know you didn't say nothing wrong, because he would have said, astaghfirullah. Now they said, in clear Arabic, astaghfirullah. Now I told you we were in Minnesota, right? Okay, needless to say, these were non-Muslim hillbillies out there in Minnesota. But they clearly said astaghfirullah, they said subhanallah, and I said, subhanallah, how did you guys learn how to say this so good? Oh, we kept hearing him say it. So whenever someone, man akthara min shay' urifa bih, whoever does something in abundance, he's known by that thing. So if we keep the Quran on our tongue, consistently, it'll come out when we need it. It doesn't come out sometimes because we don't appreciate it. What do I mean by that? What does appreciation mean? Value. Okay? That's the best word. I thought I was going to have to go around with it. Because some people think appreciate means to like something. Doesn't mean that. It means that you put it on a scale and you gave it its true worth. Whether that's in a positive or a negative fashion. And why don't we value the Quran like that? What's one of the reasons, anybody?
Don't read it.
Sorry?
Don't read it.
Because we don't understand it, okay? Because a lot of us are L3 languages or L2. We haven't gotten to the point where when you read it, just on a linguistic basis, we understand what's being said. And then on a second level, understand the tafseer meaning of that ayah. So that when we hear it, we're reminded, okay, of what that means. And that's, again, the purpose for this class. And you have any questions thus far? There's no questions. We're going to recite this one more time, and then we're going to move on to the next portion. Tafseeru 101.
Tafseeru 101
is what we're going to do.
is what we're going to do.
We're going to break each surah down.
We're going to break each surah down.
For every one of you.
For every one of you.
From whence it came.
From whence it came.
Its length and name.
Its length and name.
Its placement and just what it claims.
Its placement and just what it claims.
To learn Quran.
To learn Quran.
And pass it down.
And pass it down.
For Muslims learning.
For Muslims learning.
All around.
All around.
Okay. Now I'm going to erase this here. And if someone has not gotten it, then they should be able to get it from someone else after class, not during class, okay? How much time do I have left? Anybody? Please tell me.
21.
I have 21 minutes left? Inshallah ta'ala. So,
Before they're there, but then there's 50,
okay, well, we got time. So this class is called what?
Tafseeru 101.
Okay, so Tafseeru 101 is the name of the class. What's the subject matter?
Quran.
The Quran. Okay, so we need to define the Quran. Okay? What is the Quran? What is the definition of the Quran?
Recitation.
He said recitation. Anybody else?
Kalamullah.
Kalamullah. Anybody else? Now give me the technical meaning. Give me the istilahan. Can anybody give me the legal definition of the Quran?
The reading.
That's the linguistic. Sorry? The laws of Allah.
Right here.
No, let's break it down, okay? The word Quran.
The word Quran.
Let's start again. The word Quran.
The word Quran.
Linguistically.
Linguistically.
When broken down.
When broken down.
Methodically.
Methodically.
Means reading. Or recited piece.
Or recited piece.
By most of those.
By most of those.
Who've dared to teach.
Who dare to teach.
Let's start here. The word Quran linguistically.
The word Quran linguistically.
When broken down methodically.
When broken down methodically.
Means reading or recited piece.
Means reading or recited piece.
By most of those who've dared to teach.
By most of those who dare to teach.
It's reached us in its purest form.
It's reached us in its purest form.
Through massive chains still carried on.
Through massive chains still carried on.
The Arabic speech of Allah.
The Arabic speech of Allah.
Revealed to Ibn Abdullah.
Revealed to Ibn Abdullah.
Its words and meanings both preserved.
Its words and meanings both preserved.
In Mus'haf form gone undisturbed.
And must have form gone undisturbed.
A standing challenge for all time.
A standing challenge for all time.
For those who claim it's just some rhyme.
For those who claim it's just some rhyme.
That's the technical definition of the Quran. So, the word Quran linguistically.
The word Quran linguistically.
What does linguistically mean?
Language.
In the language. So, the word Quran, we're going to deal with that first. The word Quran in the linguistic form, because most words, if not all words, have at least two meanings. They have a linguistic meaning, then they have the meaning as a terminology. Okay, and sometimes they're not the same, or they don't even have a reflection of the same. If I say to you, what's up? What does that mean? Tell me what it means, guys.
How you doing?
What's that?
How you doing? What you doing?
What do you mean? Linguistically, it means what is that above your head, right?
Yeah.
But that's the linguistic meaning, right? So the colloquial or the term as a terminology, it has no connection to the literal meaning, does it?
No.
So there's a rule that I want you to understand. That though we're learning Arabic, or we're going to break down the words in the Arabic format, when the Quranic definition or the tafsir goes against the Arabic meaning, which one do we take?
Tafseer.
The tafsir of it. And we don't even pay mind to what the Arabic linguistic might be. Because our purpose for learning the Arabic is to understand the Quran, not the Quran to understand the Arabic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so the word Quran linguistically, when broken down methodically, what does methodically mean? No, you can't give me a definition with the same word. Someone said method. No. We call it scientifically, right? With a certain technique, right? Meticulously.
Stages.
Through a certain format that would extract from it the proper meanings, right? That's what we mean. So the word Quran linguistically, when broken down methodically, means reading. Or recited peace. By most of those who dare to teach. Now what does that mean, by most of those who dare to teach?
Those who have the courage to teach.
Ooh, who has the courage to teach?
You.
The scholars, okay? So we say this, those who dare to teach must never cease to learn. That's why you find the biggest ulama saying they're still what? Talabul ilm, talibul ilm. And they have in the books of talibul ilm, whoever stops studying under a teacher, he is the most ignorant person he knows. You told me 20 minutes.
No, we good. Those are the phone watch. Those are the apps. Yeah. We
Okay.
at 45.
Inshallah. I lost my money. What was I saying?
Saying that you must keep learning even though you
Okay, now, those who dare to teach must never cease to.
learn.
Those who dare to teach must never cease to.
Learn.
That's the rule. But those who dare to teach, we call those the scholars. And I say by most, that points to them, not all of them. Okay? So that shows not all of the scholars call this the reading or recited piece. Does that make sense? So that you know, if someone says, well, that's not the only word out there. Of course, you know that. We told you that. By most of them. So this is the jamhur, this is the majority opinion. Well, what's the second opinion? The second opinion, it is from the word qara'na. Say that? Qara'na. Say it loud. Qara'na. In order to learn a language, you got to have fun. You got to be willing to hear yourself say it wrong. You got to have thick skin for people to laugh at you when you didn't say it right. And you got to keep on keeping on till you get it. Why is it called qara'na by some of those different ulama? Where did they get that from? Because the word is Quran. So they say, well, qara'na is the root, they want to say. We say qara'a is the root from the recitation to reading, because that's what's done with it. It's read. It's being read. In fact, we say it's being read right now somewhere in the world and hasn't stopped being read since it was revealed. Someone somewhere is offering salat with the Quran. Someone somewhere is reciting Quran. Someone somewhere in the middle of the night on the battle, in the sea or in the desert is reciting Quran. Alhamdulillah. So it's a reading or reciting piece. Now the word qara'na has become an English word, as we'll find lots of words in Arabic terms have become English words. And it's a shame that most of us Muslims don't know that, because we walk around without dignity, like we're beat dogs, and we brought so much to civilization, true civilization. The word qara'na, we put it in English, and what do we call this thing? Corner. What do you call it? Don't whisper to me, I'm married. Corner. Okay? And what is a corner? Yes, sir.
A meeting place for two walls.
Where two angles and two walls connect. What's that connection with the word Quran, meaning it's connected? What is that? See, Arabic is real beautiful, real flowerful. A lot of flavor in the thought when you think about it. And you'll see that as we go through the Quran. Anybody tell me? Not you.
The connection to Allah.
The connection to Allah, that's nice. No, that's not what it means though, okay? Even though it is hablullah, mateen, that's true. But that's not why they say that. That's what I'm saying. Anybody? I can't hear you. At-tawassul is how they're calling on Allah ar-Rahman when you want His rahmah. Sorry? The word connect, no, they're connecting. Ittasal baynahuma. Okay? They're connected together, right? But what's that? How does that meaning come in the word Quran? Let me tell you, because we know I don't want to ruin the time frame. It's where all the prophets connect. Where the message of all the prophets connect. The message of Adam. What do we learn from Adam? What's the most important science in the Arabic sciences? There's 3 sciences in Arabic. Did you know that? To make up all the sciences in Arabic. We say there's 13, but out of 13, it's really just 3. One of them is we call lugha, we call vocabulary, mufradat. The other one is nahwu wa sarf, okay? And the third one is balagha, with its 3 types, okay? Which one out of those 3 is the most important one? Labek. Less ana. The mu'adhin never needs permission to call the adhan. The iqamah is on the imam, the adhan is on the mu'adhin. So it's whenever they can do it in the middle. But anybody what's the most important science? Yabna Nil.
The name of everything.
The name of everything. He's right. Hit it on the first time. The vocabulary. The knowing the names, the vocabulary of everything is so important. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. That Allah, once He taught Adam the names of everything, the vocabulary of everything, it gave him fadl over the angels.
Wait for me, please.
Just outside.
تفضل. Can we hear you?
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
You see how he calls the adhan like that? He says Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and then he says to say it low twice. A lot of people may think that, oh man, what is he doing? That's kind of weird. But that's the adhan of Medina, the way that they used to do it. The adhan that we do is the adhan of Kufa. Okay? So the one that they do. So these are the adhans, and that's the ones you hear all the time in Africa, Mauritania, in Timbuktu, in Sudan. That's the adhan. You hear it some places in the south of Egypt as well. The adhan of Medina. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah fikum. Alhamdulillah. So, what was I saying? Somebody help me. So yes, so then we see that Adam was given fadl, status over everything in the universe because of his knowledge of the words. Showing the status or the fadl. I don't know the English word that we would say. Somebody help me.
Virtue.
The virtue, what?
Superiority.
Huh?
Excellence.
The excellence of knowledge of the meanings of words. Okay? And it becomes very, very vital. And that comes in the Quran too, the story of Adam, the true reason behind the hasad that Shaitan has for us. What is it? The hasad?
Jealousy.
Jealousy, the envy, that type of thing that he has towards us. This comes in it. And then who's the next prophet that comes after Adam? No, not Yusha, not Nuh. No, Sheath. Sheath comes next. Okay, Sheath comes as the next prophet, and he comes in, and the connection is here. And Sheath is the one that told them stop bobbing their heads and playing music, because that message comes in the Quran as well. And then after Sheath, Enoch or Idris. Now he comes, and Idris was the first person to go to war against people for not and saying he's going to command what is right. And Allah gave him what? You know, He gave him the good rewards of everybody He gave him the good deeds of everybody in the dunya every day. Because he commanded was ma'ruf wa yanha anil munkar. And Allah speaks about him in the Quran too. And then we have Nuh and his message about not having idols and images and these things, and so on and so forth. Each one of the prophets and the essence of their message. That part of the message that Allah wanted us to keep with them. Not that they didn't bring other things, but those parts are exemplified in the Quran and connected in the message of the final, which is Islam. And that's why they call it Quran. That connection. So we say this one don't negate that one. Okay? But it is the recited piece. The reading or recited piece by most of those who dare to teach. But we don't negate that it connects all the prophet's message together in a single string to show that this is all the makings of Islam. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? No? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. I'm going to stop here because I don't want to give you more than I explained, okay, today. And I want you to be able to come next week and recite this poem from beginning to end. And we're going to keep going each time, inshallah, and you'll get better at it. Let's go over this again. The word Quran linguistically. Recite it, guys. We'll start again. So stop. Start again, guys. Read it.
The word Quran linguistically, when broken down methodically, means reading or reciting piece of most of those who dare to teach.
Read it together. Don't quit, guys. Come on, start again. You can read it. The word Quran
linguistically, when broken down methodically, means reading or reciting piece by most of those who dare to teach.
Again.
The word Quran linguistically, when broken down methodically, means reading or reciting piece by most of those who dare to teach.
Again.
The word Quran linguistically, when broken down methodically, means reading or reciting piece by most of those who dare to teach.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And this is where the Tafseeru 101 is what we're going to do. We're going to break each surah down from whence it came, its length and name, its placement, and just to learn Quran and pass it down for Muslims. That's the first, that's the introduction. This is the explanation of the Quran, because before we can study it, we have to know what it is. So now this becomes the next thing. The word Quran linguistically, when broken down, means reading or recited piece. And then after that, we're going to go further. Now I said, I promised you, inshallah, I promised you that I would give you a word. Because we want to learn the Quran. I'm teaching you to get there, but there's a word in the Quran that we say all the time, but most of us don't know what it means. That word is mustaqim. Say that? Mustaqim. Now, first of all, we say it wrong. We say it like this. Let me erase this board. We say this, mustaqim. That's how we say it. Say that. Mustaqim. This is wrong. Arabic doesn't speak that way. Okay? It doesn't go that way. It goes like this. There's a subtle difference. It goes mustaqim. Say that. Mustaqim. No, don't hold it. Don't go mustaq. Say mus, then take your tongue off the S. Then put it back on the ta. Look, listen. Mus-ta. No, listen. Watch my mouth. Mus. Now take your tongue off the S sound. The S is rise up. Mus-ta. ta. Slow it down. Musta. Take the pause. You hear that? That's different from musta. Okay? Mustaqim. Don't pronounce this. Mustaqim. And make like a shudder and a sukoon is on it. And then shut up. Like this. Go. And then stop this out. Mustaqim. Right. That meme is a special letter in the Arabic language. It can't mix most of the time. Especially before alayhim wa. You can't say alayhim wa. It's not supposed to hum. Okay? وَحْضَرْ لَدَى الْفَاءِ وَأَنْ تَخْتَفِي لِقُرْبِهَا وَلِكْتِسَارِ فَعْرِفِي. It tells us, watch out before the meme comes before a wow and a fa. Because they're close. Say say mwa. Say f. You see your fa and the ma and the wa, they all come from the lips. So you have to close that mouth, but make it strong when you close it. Alayhim wala. And we say log. Walog. No, it's like you say lad. You see a little lad? It's lad. It's not log, but don't say lad. Okay? Because that's going to be wrong because the log. We have to get to the log. But it's walog. Okay? Okay, so the lad part, not walog. Okay? Now, the reason why I mentioned this word, mustaqim. I shouldn't hear meme, like I shouldn't hear the spirit of meme all in here. It shouldn't be like mustaqim. No, it should be mustaqim. Okay, so what does this word mean? Straight. Everybody says straight, right?
Straight.
That's the problem. When you read a translation, you can only get one angle of understanding. Because the editor, one of the jobs I had in the past, I was the research director for Dar es Salaam, okay? For the what do you call it? In the research department. I said it wrong. Project manager for the research department for Dar es Salaam. And so we get all the translations going to English and everything. If you saw like about 15 years ago, you started seeing Bulugh al-Maram and all these things. We started putting commentary in there. We changed the font and made it look more Americanized English. Before, most of the stuff was Kazi population, Kazi publications. A lot of stuff coming from the what do you call it? That old English tone. Okay. So we changed it to Americanize that type of stuff. And one of the problems that we had to do is making it, how do we make it sound readable? Okay, that's an issue. How do you make it readable? And sometimes when you want to make it readable in another language, you're going from a strong, rich language to a weak language. Okay? So the Quran has much more meaning than the English, and you can't put so many words, and it becomes wordy, and the publisher does not want that. He's not going to pay for all those words. That's ink. That's paper. That's money. So make it simple. That's what the order of the day is. Keep it simple. If it keeps some angle of the meaning, then we're good. So we leave it in there, the straight path, right? We leave it in there like that, because otherwise you don't have a job, you have to come back to the United States. I'm telling you the real deal. That's what it is.
Compromise.
No?
Compromise.
You have to compromise because it's not your company. I tell you every day. It's not your company, okay? However, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, mustaqim does not mean straight. That's just an angle. That's just the spirit of the word. The meaning of the word is in this staff. Now I'm gonna put it as staff. Don't we say this all the time? What do I say when I feel bad about doing a sin? What do I say? Astaghfirullah, right? The root word is ghafara, right? Ghafara. Right? What is ghafara? He is ghafurun, ghaffar, right? He is the forgiver. He's the forgiving on sin. So that word. So what does ista mean in that regard? The ista means, so that's one angle of it, to seek. We stop there. Oh, I know what it means now. Istaf'ala means to seek. But istaf'ala also means tahawwulu shay, to transform something. Okay? It changes. So that, what does that do with the root word qiyama, right? Qiyama, right? To make something straight. So mustaqim and mu in front of the word, whenever you see mu in front of the word, what does it mean? Mu in front of the word means the one who has the characteristics of the rest of the concept. So someone who is in Islam, we call him a mu. Someone who has ikhlas, we call him mukhlis. Someone who has responded to the adhan, so he is muflih, right? Someone who has nifaq and he's a hypocrite, we call him a what? Munafiq. Someone who has shirk, we call him a mushrik. And ma in front of a word is a place, right? What do we do here? What is this place called? Masjid. What do we do here? Sujood. Don't say pray. We make sajda, so it's a masjid. And a min in front of the word is a utensil. What's that thing we do with our mouth? No. Miswak. What's the thing that we get on when we go to call the adhan or give a lecture? Minbar. Do you guys get the point?
Yeah.
All these things are simple about the Arabic language that you should pick up so you can understand the spirit of the word. So Allah has given that sirat life by giving it the characteristics of animation, mu, one who. Okay? And istaqim means it has the ability, this sirat has the ability to straighten you out. So it's not a straight path, it's the path that will straighten you out. Is that a different understanding? And along with it being having the ability to straighten you out, it is straight and smooth, meaning easy. But that's a characteristic that comes along with its ability to straighten you out. You understand? So we're holding on to the characteristics that come along with the root of the idea. I hope you guys understand. I feel like I said too much. Because I'm see moths going. Did you guys understand me or not?
No.
What do you understand? Yes, ma'am.
Not wise, I said it, Jordan.
Go ahead.
It's a process.
No. It's not, that's not true. It's not that that's not true. What the point, anybody else want to say, what does it mean? What does mustaqim mean now, based on what I told you?
Do the right thing.
The path that will keep you straight or let you.
Not keep you straight. No, that's the incorrect thing. Get you straight. Because, a lot of times what happens, people say, when I straighten out my life, I'm going to come back to the masjid. Don't you hear that before? Let me just straighten out my life and then I'll get things right, then I'm going to come back. Or I'm going to become Muslim when you ain't never coming back to Islam. Or you're never coming to Islam without getting on mustaqim, the siratul mustaqim, because that's the thing that will straighten you out. Does that make sense? Allah has given us the thing that will straighten us out. It's straight and it will straighten you out. So being on following that path is the way to get straight. There is no other way. That's what the mafhum mukhalifa is there. The understanding that goes against it, that's the straight way, the way to straighten someone out, and there is no other way to straighten someone out. Because he didn't say a lot of paths, the paths that are straight. He said the path that is straight and will straighten you out. So it's the only way. Does that make sense? No. And then what adds to that is the fact that Allah tells us if someone wants to take any other way besides Islam, it'll never be accepted. It's not accepted. I hope that makes sense, and I see that the time is for the salah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.